Welcome, everyone. Let's get started. Today, we are exploring the most consequential shift in cybersecurity history, the rise of agentic AI. We will uncover exactly how frontier models are breaking traditional defenses and, most importantly, provide you with 5 strategic hardening steps to protect your enterprise data. Let's dive in. Let's begin by defining the new threat landscape. What is agentic hacking? It marks the transition from AI simply assisting human hackers to AI operating as an autonomous operative. Frontier models, such as Anthropic's Claude Mythos Preview, essentially function as a zero-day factory. The basics are staggering. These models don't just find known bugs, they autonomously scan codebases to uncover flaws that have eluded human experts for decades, like a 27-year-old vulnerability in the highly secure OpenBSD operating system. Why does this matter? Because the speed of attack has collapsed from weeks to minutes. Mythos became the first model to successfully complete a 32-step corporate network attack simulation A task that typically takes elite human professionals over 20 hours. How does it achieve this? Through vulnerability chaining. The AI identifies several low-severity issues and seamlessly links them together to create a critical exploit path that bypasses traditional defense in-depth measures. Our deep dive reveals that traditional, human speed triage is completely insufficient against an adversary operating at machine speed. Look at this timeline comparison to visualize the severity of the threat. The core attack lifecycle reconnaissance, vulnerability discovery, exploit chaining, and network takeover remains structurally the same. However, the critical difference is velocity. The top dotted path represents human speed, where discovering and chaining vulnerabilities takes days or weeks. The bottom bold path represents agentic AI speed. The AI executes the exact same lifecycle in mere minutes, neutralizing the traditional reaction time of human security operation centers. To survive, our defenses must adapt to this new temporal reality. Step 1 in strategic hardening is comprehensive exposure assessment. What is this? It's the immediate, AI-driven audit of your entire enterprise environment to build a complete asset and exposure inventory. The basics dictate that you cannot defend an invisible attack surface. You must strictly manage your origin sources and create a dynamic software bill of materials, or SBM, for all open source and third-party code. Why is this urgent? Because models like Mythos excel at uncovering legacy liabilities. End-of-life software, abandoned middleware, and forgotten APIs are the lowest hanging fruit for an autonomous agent. How do we combat this? By turning the weapon into a shield. You must deploy defensive AI models to continuously map your own attack surface, proactively finding how seemingly minor misconfigurations can be chained into a critical exploit. Our deep dive highlights the supply chain, because AI can scan millions of lines of open-source code instantly, an obscure library vulnerability can be leveraged against your infrastructure at scale. Total visibility is the prerequisite for survival. This flowchart illustrates the comprehensive exposure assessment process. Your enterprise attack surface feeds continuously into an AI-driven assessment engine. This engine simultaneously maps 3 critical domains: internal code repositories, open-source dependencies using an SBM, and crucially, legacy and end-of-life systems. The engine does not simply return a flat list of bugs, it correlates these findings into a prioritized risk map. By understanding exactly how vulnerabilities chain together across these domains, security teams can focus on targeted remediation that disrupts the most likely AI attack paths. Step 2 is enforcing zero trust and the identity layer. What does this mean? It means the network perimeter is obsolete. The new perimeter is identity. The basics involve enforcing rigorous device posture checks, least privilege access, and continuous trust verification before granting access to any application. Why is identity so critical? Because over 80% of all breaches involve compromised identities. Frontier AI models supercharge this threat by rapidly scraping exposed credentials and automating lateral movement across network segments. How do we harden this layer? For humans, you must transition to phishing-resistant multi-factor authentication, mandating hardware security keys like FIDO2. In our deep dive, we focus on machine identity. As you deploy your own AI agents, each one must be assigned a distinct, governed identity with scoped permissions. When an AI goes rogue or is compromised by an attacker, the identity management platform acts as the ultimate kill switch, revoking access instantly and neutralizing the threat. Let's examine the zero trust identity architecture. Every single access request routes through the centralized identity control plane. The system branches based on the actor. Human users face a physical FIDO2 hardware key challenge, while AI agents must present cryptographic authentication with tightly scoped permissions. Both paths converge on continuous trust verification. As long as behavior matches the baseline, resource access is granted. However, the moment an anomaly is detected, such as an agent attempting unauthorized lateral movement, the system triggers the kill switch, immediately revoking access before data exfiltration can occur. Step 3 is to compress the patch-to-deploy window. What does this mean operationally? It means transitioning from comfortable, routine monthly patch cycles to urgent, time-to-deploy enforcement. The basics are driven by a terrifying reality. The window between a vulnerability's discovery and its exploitation has collapsed from months down to mere minutes. Why the urgency? Because while AI models find 0 days, they are also incredibly efficient at turning known, unpatched end-day vulnerabilities into weaponized exploits almost instantly. Every unapplied patch is a target. How do we execute this? You must leverage auto-updates, out-of-band release pipelines, and immediately deploy compensating controls, like network isolation, to shield assets while patches are tested. Diving deeper, this isn't just an internal engineering problem, it's a vendor management issue. You must review your supply chain contracts and aggressively renegotiate service-level agreements, SLAs, to enforce minimum patching speeds from your critical software suppliers. This sequence diagram maps the compressed patching pipeline. When a software vendor releases an end-day patch, the AI Defender intercepts it to perform automated risk and impact analysis in minutes. If the AI detects the high-risk critical exploit path, it acts autonomously to deploy compensating controls, such as isolating the affected service in production. Simultaneously, it triggers IT ops for urgent out-of-band patching and auto-update enforcement. This AI-accelerated workflow ensures the vulnerability window is shut before adversarial AI can exploit it. Step 4 introduces behavioral KYT and AI-CM integration. What is KYT? It stands for Know Your Transaction. It is the practice of using defensive AI to monitor the dynamic, underlying intent of API calls and system interactions, rather than just trusting a static authentication key. The basics require us to distinguish between normal human behavior, standard bots, and highly advanced malicious AI agents. Why? Because an AI attacker will often use perfectly valid, stolen credentials. However, the speed and sequence of their lateral movement executing superhuman logic chains is a dead giveaway. How do we catch this? We must deploy AI-driven security information and event management systems, effectively creating an autonomous SOC. These platforms analyze massive telemetry to isolate compromised nodes in microseconds. Look at the math concept on the screen. Researchers use joint loss functions, evaluating retrieval patterns, action velocity, and stealth parameters to flag agentic signatures instantly. Human analysts cannot compute this fast enough. You need machine speed defense. This graph visualizes the flow of behavioral Know Your Transaction. An authenticated API request enters the system and immediately hits the behavioral KYT engine. Even with valid credentials, the engine analyzes the sequence and velocity of the request. It asks, is this an agentic signature match? If the behavior is superhuman or highly anomalous, it routes to yes, triggering the AI-CM for microsecond isolation and automatically revoking identity tokens. If the behavior is normal, it passes to standard threat filtering and the transaction is processed. Our final hardening maneuver is Step 5, autonomous red teaming and shift-left AI. What does this entail? It means embedding frontier AI models directly into your development lifecycle to aggressively break your own code before it ever ships. The basics of this approach are embodied in Anthropic's Project Glasswing, where organizations deploy defensive Mythos instances to conduct continuous, proactive threat hunting. Why is this the ultimate defense? Because in an AI arms race, discovering and fixing your vulnerabilities before the adversary finds them is your only path to survival. How is this operationalized? You set up defensive AI agents to scan your source code 24/7. These agents don't just flag bugs, they anticipate complex exploit chains and generate predictive, machine-coded patches for your engineers to review. Our deep dive confirms that we have officially entered an era of machine versus machine warfare. Traditional point-in-time penetration testing is dead. To win, defenders must automate real-time detection and response. This cycle diagram maps the shift-left AI workflow. It starts with the developer's code commit, which triggers an immediate defensive AI agent scan. If a vulnerability is found, the system doesn't just generate a ticket, it performs an autonomous exploit simulation to prove the risk, and then generates a predictive patch. This patch is routed for human engineer review, ensuring quality control before feeding back into the codebase. If no vulnerability is found, the code proceeds to secure deployment. This creates a continuous, self-healing software lifecycle. To ground these concepts, let's examine a critical real-time use case regarding supply chain and third-party risk. Recently, a major web infrastructure provider, Versal, disclosed a severe incident where customer API keys were exposed. The intrusion was traced directly to a compromised workspace connection tied to a third-party AI tool called Context.ai. This highlights a massive vulnerability escalation. Threat actors are increasingly targeting the AI supply chain, using these vendor footholds to bypass external firewalls and initiate rapid lateral movement inside the target network. How does our hardening strategy stop this? By applying Step 1, the enterprise maintains an accurate SVUM, instantly identifying the vulnerable Context.ai dependency. By applying Step 2, robust identity controls ensure that even if API keys are stolen, they lack the broad permissions needed to traverse the network, containing the blast radius immediately. The vital lesson here is that third-party AI integrations dramatically expand your attack surface. You must treat vendor connections with zero trust and enforce strict least privilege controls across the board. This flowchart traces the anatomy of a supply chain attack. When a third-party AI tool is compromised, resulting in API keys being exposed, the outcome depends entirely on your posture. If strategic hardening is not applied, the attacker initiates rapid AI-driven lateral movement, leading to massive data exfiltration. However, if hardening is applied, the system relies on identity layer scoping to limit access. As the attacker attempts to move, behavioral KYD flags the anomaly, ensuring the threat is contained and keys are revoked before damage is done. In conclusion, the emergence of frontier models like Claude Mythos proves we have crossed a definitive threshold. Offensive capabilities now drastically outpace human speed defenders. Fragmented security tools are a liability, urgent platformization and consolidation are required. To defend your enterprise, you must implement these 5 steps. Action 1. Execute continuous exposure assessments to eliminate legacy blind spots. Action 2. Modernize your identity layer with strict zero trust and hardware isolation. Action 3. Automate your patching to compress the window of vulnerability from days to minutes. Action 4. Deploy ASI mesh to monitor behavioral intent and catch agentic signatures. And Action 5. Embrace shift-left AI, using defensive models to autonomously red team and harden your own code. The era of machine speed warfare is here, and AI must become your ultimate shield. To master these advanced architectures and future-proof your career, I invite you to like, subscribe, and visit quicktechie.com for premium certification prep, including Q&A banks, full ebooks, audiobooks, full-length training, and interview guides. Stay secure, and thank you for watching. Our final mind map summarizes the strategic hardening framework for the AI era. The course splits into 4 main operational pillars: exposure assessment for deep visibility, zero trust identity to enforce the new security perimeter, automated operations featuring rapid patching and behavioral KYT, and finally, autonomous defense utilizing shift-left scanning and predictive remediation. Mastering this framework ensures your organization transforms AI from a critical threat into your most powerful defensive asset.
To find related ebook and other material for this training course, go to quicktechie.com. Now you will see all the video courses are available here. So let's move to the ebooks. You can go here, ebooks, all AI related ebooks, like you are watching currently Mythos related training. That ebook would be uploaded under this section. You can download this ebook. PDF would be available, all 300-page PDF. So you just click on the download this entire ebook. You can download from this section. So whatever training you are currently listening, corresponding ebook would be available. We have thousands of ebooks available. Now, other than that, we have on video courses which you are watching right now. This also all AI related courses are available. Similarly, for all company related trainings are available, like Microsoft. You can find it here with their respective certification training modules. All exam simulators which would help you to get the certification preparation. Just refresh if you get this kind of error. Okay, so now you can see these are all certification preparation materials. Will also be click here to the NVIDIA certification preparation material. So you can see all NVIDIA certification preparation materials and click on any of this and it would load the entire screen and you can launch the practice paper. So this is what you can see, that you can submit the answer. We have an audiobooks available. Okay, so for each section, and these are our alumni who can you can find out all alumni who are accessing our portal.